Hello everyone, welcome back. It's Nikki from Prim and Planning, and today I'm going to be working in my Hemlock and Oak weekly planner using Cocoa Daisy's Chapters of September collection. So let's get into it. Okay, so I'm just showing you here a few things that I've pulled out. If you want to pause on those markers, absolutely do that. But I have here Chapters of September on the right hand side. I pulled out all the flat items like the washi tape, the rub-ons, the stamp, which I will end up using. And then on the left hand side, I actually pulled out some items from last September's collection. What was it called again? Let's check. It was called, I can't remember. Cozy Season? No, that can't be right. What was it called? I know. Little Bee Cottage. And so I pulled out Little Bee Cottage. Well, for one, it was one of my favorite collections, and two, even though the colors definitely and the styles don't match, I wanted this month to go through all of September and disperse the items evenly throughout. So I didn't want to just plop all the rub-ons into one weekly spread. I wanted to kind of scatter them throughout the 4 weeks of September. And then this way it just gave me a little bit more wiggle room by adding some of the elements from last September's collection. And as you'll see on week 3, I'm able to make a whole look with that as well. So it definitely worked out and I really like it. So a lot of this video is definitely me struggling to get the rub-ons on. It's just, I don't know what's going on. I'm having a hard time with these rub-ons and it's starting to get so frustrating because they're such a big part of this planner and I do love using them. Here I ended up using like an acrylic piece behind that Cocoa Daisy like acrylic washi tape cutter. It kind of works better. So maybe that's what I just need to do. I need to get a larger, like harder board to do that on. So my plan was to kind of disperse the rub-ons and the icons throughout the pages and kind of keep it to a color tone or a certain like style. I had originally plopped that acorn sticker down in that says start small, and I end up pulling that back up, but that's okay. So I also grabbed some washi from my stash. So this one is super pretty and I feel like it works so well with the collection. It's from Illustrated Faith if I'm not mistaken, and I love the thickness here, but how fun is it with those florals, like the boldness? It's not, it's not so drawn or realistic this month. It's definitely more poppy and graphic. So I really do love that. I love that Cocoa Daisy does that because, some months are more artistic and watercolor, and some months are more like this where they're more bold and graphic elements. So you get to use all your goodies to kind of coordinate with it. So I love this washi and it definitely works with these florals. Like the colors are perfect. So I'm just kind of adding them on to the corners of my weekly planner. And as I mentioned before, I'm sure you've heard me say it, I use this as kind of like to document our daily activities. So, if we have an appointment or what I'm doing during the afternoon, the kids have, activities in cheerleading, and I document it all so that when it's time to go back to my project life, which I do in a 6x12, I have everything available to me, all the information there, along with the photos, but this is more like that documented, memories. I'll also write in, like, if the kids say something funny, I'll add that in. On the last page, you saw that I added in a grateful for section on the bottom. Sometimes I do that as well. It actually helps because I've been noticing that the washi tape along the bottom has definitely been bulging a little bit more as we get closer and closer to the end of the year. So changing it up from the top to the bottom to, you know, middle section definitely helps. So I'm just kind of like collecting pieces for each week of September here. So I've decided that I wanted to kind of go with these Hello Autumn stickers from the scrapbooking collection. I forgot to mention all of these pieces here are from the scrapbook collection only. I actually well, honestly, I'm just trying not to get so many items constantly every month. So right now, I'm only getting the scrapbooking collection and, you know, making it work. I'm using it in my Hemlock and Oak. Like you see here, I'm using it in my 6x12 Project Life. And then I can also spread it. I can also make a layout or two, like a 12x12 or a 6x8 layout, and use up the remaining pieces. And then, I don't know, I just, sometimes when I really love the collection, I will add more, you know, obviously. I know I'm getting a lot more in October's collection because I loved it so much. And this is what happened with last year, right? So this Little Bee Cottage, I absolutely love the collection, so that's why I have leftovers this next year to go around. And that happens, you know, sporadically throughout the year with certain collections, you know, they spark more joy for me. So that is what works for me. So as you can see here, I'm using more of the last year's September collection. And towards the end, I'm even going to bring in, I guess it would be September 2023 stamp from the Daily Journal stamp. So yeah, I like to keep it within the month because that way you just are, I don't know, you kind of force yourself to reuse that collection again. And instead of like grabbing, you know, January stamp set or something, because it just kind of forces me to, you know, relook at what was of September 2023, for example, and kind of use up those pieces again, those elements that we loved 2 years ago. So that is what I am doing, and I'm just, you know, continuing to work through these run-ons here. Okay, so I decided that I wanted to use the stamp set from this month, which I think is so creative, but I struggled very, oh my goodness, it was a struggle, but this is exactly what this planner is for. I don't want to, you know, this is a perfect example of, oh, that's where, you know, the error, the error. I definitely dropped the stamp, and now I go down the rabbit hole trying to make this layout work, okay? So this is where I'm going to bring out all the other items, but as I was saying, this is the perfect place to try out the new stamps because sometimes months go by and I never even open the stamp set because it doesn't work on a layout, and I generally don't stamp in my Project Life unless it's a word phrase or an, you know, just a little sentiment. But I really wanted to utilize this cool stamp. I mean, it's so neat, and it's a perfect spot to try it out. But I dropped the stamp, and then I used that Distress Oxide color for the label at the top there, and I messed up the stamp string. Oh my gosh. So now I'm just digging into my stash of September stamps from last September to see if I can maybe like bring it back and cover up that drop C. And then I just end up adding too much blue, and it's just, you know, it is what it is. The last week of September is supposed to be the first day of fall, and I don't even feel like it looks like fall at all. I made another error right here by not having the piece far enough, and so I have to do a double, and then it ends up smearing on top of the rub-on. Oh my goodness, it's fine. It's fine. It still looks cool, and I'm glad I played, and that's all that matters, right? So I use stamps from all 3 years, and I think that's pretty cool. I'm proud of myself for doing it, and this is not my favorite spread, but it's fine. I end up covering the orangey brown, and then we're gonna call it a day. So I hope you enjoyed this walkthrough with me, and I will see you again next time. Thanks so much for watching. Bye.